Now there's one more tool I want to try out in the basic set, but this isn't a drawing tool. This is a transform tool. You use this tool to change the shapes that you've drawn with the other tools. It's right up here, and it has a little box with the handles around it. To use the free transform tool, we simply need to select an object to work on. Now you can use the tool itself to do your selections just like you do with the normal selection tool. I can click to grab this fill, or I could double click to grab the fill and the stroke around the outside of it. In addition to selecting the object, it also creates a box around it and gives me these handles. These are familiar for any kind of transform tool. You can just grab the corners and reshape or resize that object, whatever it is you have selected. If you hold down Shift while you're dragging the corner, you'll scale the horizontal and vertical proportionally so you keep the same shape and don't distort your object. And if you grab the middle handles, you'll be scaling your object either vertically or horizontally. Now this is kind of a multi-purpose tool, so if you drag your cursor around, you'll see a couple of different hints showing the different functions that we can do with it. For instance, if we go out to the corners and move your cursor a little bit past, you can see that we get a rotate icon, and by clicking and dragging, I can rotate this object around. It's rotating around this white center point, and that's movable as well. You can grab that center point and move it to another position on the object, and when you try to rotate, you'll be rotating around that pivot point instead. The last feature of our transform tool is a skew, both horizontal and vertical. And you can access that by moving your cursor right into the middle of the two handles. When you click and pull, you'll be skewing that object, and if you do it on the vertical sides, you'll skew it vertically as well. Now this is kind of a neat tool because whatever you have selected is what will be transformed. So if I just drag around a whole group of objects, you can see that I can transform all of them at once. I mentioned this tool does work as a selection tool, so I can just click out in the empty area and deselect, and I can just select objects that I want to work on. A common mistake that a lot of people will make when they first start working with Flash is to not select all of the objects like I've done here. I've only clicked on the fill portion of this shape, and even though I can use the transform tool to move it around and reshape it, I'm leaving behind that outline. So let me just undo that change, and I'll go back and double click so I can grab both objects and resize them. Our transform tool does have a couple of nifty options. Down here in the normal options section, you can kind of see a rotate and skew and a scale option, which isn't much different than using the handles that are available when we first click. But we can also do a distort option. Now what this does is allows us to disconnect the corners and reshape the tool based on different corner movements. The last option goes one step further. The envelope option actually creates a set of corner points around our object as sort of a bounding box, but that bounding box is made up of vector shapes. You can see that these are acting just like the points and handles on our vectors, where we can reshape the edge and distort the shape of our object, but we're doing so in a vector fashion.